This is lesson 1.1, Create a JavaFX program. Let's begin with why you should use JavaFX. As a rich client platform, JavaFX is a set of APIs for desktop application programming. JavaFX is an upgrade from the Java Swing library and bundled with the Java JDK. The main features of JavaFX include a set of Java APIs that you can invoke from any JVM language, including Java, Scala, Groovy, and others. Rich UI controls such as buttons, text fields, checkboxes, and many others. Also, charts, tables, menus, and panes. Web component APIs that let you embed web pages within JavaFX apps. And graphics and media engines that help you work with sound, video, and 2D and 3D images. JavaFX also lets you use FXML, a declarative markup language. Now, FXML is important because it lets you define and configure your UIs more easily. FXML also provides a nice visual representation of your GUI layout. And there are drag and drop tools like Scene Builder that generate FXML for you. Now, a central concept in JavaFX is the scene graph. Instead of invoking primitive drawing methods directly, the Scene Graph API lets the system handle the rendering details for you. So what exactly is a scene graph? Specifically, a scene graph is a hierarchical tree of nodes. The scene graph is also a visual representation of your UI and renders any graphical shapes that you want to show. A scene graph also manages nodes. A node is a single element in a scene graph, and each node has an ID and a style class. With each node, you can apply effects and change a node's opacity. You can also transform a node's position, apply event handlers, and initiate animations. Like a theater play, a JavaFX program is a stage with scenes. You can have as many scenes as you want, and you can change scenes while your program runs. A stage object is an application window similar to a JFrame or JDialog in Swing. On the desktop, a stage has its own top-level window with a border and title bar. In the browser, a stage doesn't have a window but is rendered like a Java applet. The stage class has methods that you can invoke and properties that you can configure. Now, the scene object is a content pane capable of holding 0 or more node objects. A scene has a root property that holds graphical elements displayed on the stage. The scene is also the base container for all the content in the scene graph. Let's discuss the hierarchical node structure of a JavaFX scene graph now. Note that this diagram doesn't represent a real JavaFX program. It's just here to show you how a scene graph is organized. Now, in the diagram, the stage represents the top-level window frame. The scene is below the stage and has a root node, which can be a parent node or leaf node. Parent nodes are containers that hold one or more other nodes. Leaf nodes, on the other hand, have no children. Now, nodes can be geometric shapes like a circle or rectangle, or UI controls like a button or text field. Nodes can also be 3D objects or layout panes like stack pane and grid pane, which manage the layout of their children nodes. Later on in this lesson, we'll show you a real scene graph for our sample JavaFX programs. The structure of a JavaFX program requires two important packages, so let's discuss those next. The first package is javafx.stage. This package contains the stage class, which is the top level of the UI containment hierarchy. The stage class is independent of deployment and runs on the desktop, browser, or mobile device. The other class in this package is the screen class. This class represents the display device for a running JavaFX program. The screen class has methods and properties that let you work with the display, like accessing the size of the screen and its resolution. The other package is javafx.scene, which contains several important classes. The node class is the superclass for all graphical and UI elements in JavaFX. This class has a large number of methods and properties that you can use to configure a node. Node subclasses are text, images, media, shapes, and controls. The node class also has methods and properties for mouse and keyboard handling. The scene class includes all UI and graphical nodes in a JavaFX application. The group class is a subclass of node and groups nodes together. The group class is important because any transforms for a group are applied to all nodes in that group. And changing group properties like opacity change that property for all nodes in the group. Now it's time to show you the structure of a JavaFX program. Typically, the name of a JavaFX program is a class that extends application. The application class handles the launching and stopping of your program during runtime. This class also starts up the JavaFX application thread. The main method launches the JavaFX program with optional command line arguments. There are other ways to launch JavaFX programs too, and in these situations main is not invoked. The application framework calls start with a stage object. Inside start, you use the stage object to set up your scene. Let's fire up our first JavaFX program now, which shows you how to do this. In this program, we'll set up an empty scene on the stage to display a window with a title bar and colored background. This is the setScene program, which extends the application class and displays an empty scene. The root in this program is a group object. Here, root is passed to the scene constructor along with the window's width set to 500 and its height set to 250. We also set the background color of the window to light green. Next, we set the title for the stage, set the scene on the stage, and show the stage. Let's run this program now and see what happens. What you see here is a light green window with a title bar that says Hello JavaFX. Note as I resize the window, the title bar remains centered. Let's change the dimensions of the window now and set the background color to light blue. When we recompile and run this program now, you will see a smaller window with a different color. Okay, let's go do something more interesting now. As a preview to what you'll learn in later lessons, let's show you a JavaFX program that displays what you see here. This program uses a stack pane layout to display a rounded blue rectangle containing the text string Hello from JavaFX. Note that drop shadows appear with both the text and the rounded rectangle to give it a nice visual effect. And all of this is displayed in a window with a light yellow background. Before we look at this code, let's show you the scene graph for this JavaFX program. In this diagram, the stage is the top-level window and is created by the JavaFX platform. The scene contains a root node, which is a stack pane. The stack pane's children include a rectangle node and a text node. Here, stack pane is a parent node and rectangle and text are leaf nodes. Note that the stack pane layout node arranges the rectangle and text nodes in a stacked formation, even though they are children nodes. This arrangement makes the text appear inside the rectangle, although it's actually rendered on top. Okay, let's show you the JavaFX code now for this program. Here's the code for the Hello JavaFX program. Don't worry about all the Java APIs that you see here. We'll explain how to create and configure these program elements in more detail in upcoming lessons. Now inside the start method, we first create a stack pane as our root element. Next, we create a gray drop shadow effect and set the Y offset. The stack pane contains a rounded rectangle, so we create a rectangle with width 400, height 60, and a light sky blue color. These setters make the rectangle rounded and apply the drop shadow effect. We'll also need a text object for the stack pane, so we'll create one with a text string. The setters for the text object set the fill color, the font size, and the drop shadow effect. Next, we add the rectangle and text to the stack pane. This makes the text appear on top of the rectangle. The rest of this code you've seen before. First, we create the scene using the stack pane route with dimensions for the window and its background color. Then, we set the title for the stage, set the scene on the stage, and show the stage. Let's run this program now and see what it looks like. You can see that this program produces the window we described earlier. And as I resize the window, notice how the stack pane layout component keeps the blue rectangle and text string nicely centered. Okay, to wrap things up in this lesson, let's show you one more interesting JavaFX feature. Here, we'll demonstrate how to fade the text string in and out. To do this, we'll need this code. First, we create a fade transition that fades the text node for 1.5 seconds. We'll then make the fade go from full opacity 1.0 to invisible 0.0. We'll set the cycle count to infinite and make the fade go in both directions. All that's left is to play the transition. Let's run this code now and see what happens. As you can see, the text string is now fading in and out. Okay, this program was an overview of some of the JavaFX features that you'll learn more about in upcoming lessons. Let's move on now to the next lesson and show you some FXML.